At 21 years old, I have achieved and I am living the exact life that I couldn't even dream existed when I was 17, 18 years old. Right now, I am friends and working with all the people that I used to look up to 3 or 4 years ago. I have quite literally everything I ever wanted when I was 18 years old. And the question is, does that actually make you happy? But for all of this to make sense and how I'm living like this, I first need to start with how I got here. And how I'm living the most incredible life that I can't even wrap my head around 100% for free. So before I answer if all this materialistic stuff actually makes you happy, let's start with how I got here. First, in high school, me and PJ back there, we were running a business, but during COVID, that got shut down. And I was thinking, what the hell do I do with my life now? We were making a bunch of money. It was super cool. We were learning a bunch of things. I was really into business. And so I thought, why don't I start to understand what I'm actually doing? Like, why don't I start to read all these business books? And that's what I did. I read every business book that I could. And then I started to absolutely fall in love with macroeconomics, which is weird. Who cares? That's what I liked. And the reason for that is I had no clue what I wanted to do with my life. I just thought that if I could figure out this macroeconomic stuff, I would at least have a better idea of what I wanted to do in the future. And so I just dedicated my life. I told myself, Josh, you are just going to spend the next year. I was going into my senior year of high school, only trying to learn macroeconomics and reaching out to every single macroeconomics person in the entire world, trying to find a way to apprentice myself under them. And most of those people were hedge fund managers, they were large businesses, a vast variety of people. I would listen to podcasts all day, every single day. I was reading books all day, every day. And every single podcast that I would listen to, I would reach out to the host and I would reach out to the guest. And I would say, hey, I'm 18 years old. Is there anything I can do for you? Anything, I'll do everything for free. I was doing that for about 6 months. I never even heard back from anyone. That proves that cold outreach, just offering free services, does not work. And I can promise you guys it doesn't, because you are a hassle to these people. And I know this now. I wouldn't even know what to do if someone was working for me for free. It would honestly be more so a burden. Then I said, well, you know what? What do I have? I have about $20,000 saved up. Why don't I offer these people $20,000 to work for them? That's a deal that no one can miss out on, right? No, I was doing that for months. I did hear back from a few people. People were gracious enough to at least communicate with me because they saw that I was willing to put extreme amounts of skin in the game, which a lot of those macro guys really respected. But again, they said, sorry, there's nothing I can't teach you. I was having frequent calls with quite a few people, but nothing substantial. There was one person in particular that I would have done anything in the world to work for. I was at one point emailing him every single day for months at an end. His name was George Gammon. That is the house that we are staying in right now. It is George Gammon's house in Medellin, Colombia. And he was having a meetup in Scottsdale, Arizona. I'm from the Boston area in a city called Lynn. At that point, I'd never been on a plane in my life. I was 18 years old, and he said, hey, if anyone wants to show up, you can just RSVP. And so I said, no matter what I'm going to take the week off from school. At that point, I wasn't even going to school, but I was going to take the week off. I was going to go. I was going to meet him. But I said, I need to do something that's going to stand out. And so I got his logo tattooed on my leg. I said, I'm going to do the craziest thing I can possibly think of, because if I was a business owner, what would really stand out to me? And so that's what I did. And I took my first ever flight. I made it to Arizona. My mom actually came with me. And it was a long journey after that of continuously harassing him, but eventually I started working for George. Once I started working for George, it was really when the vaccine mandates were starting to spread around, and he was very passionate about getting the word out. And so we realized that it doesn't matter if you have the best information in the entire world. It only matters if people watch your videos, because he's on YouTube. And so, well, what did we have to do? We really had to start to learn YouTube, because it didn't matter how good his information was. It mattered, do people watch it? And if people watch it and they get value, then they're going to want to continue to watch it. But the number one thing is you have to get people to want to watch it. So after a year of doing that and slowly progressing, still just really, I was mainly doing macroeconomic research. In the background, I was thinking, hey, this social media YouTube stuff is really important to get people, the awareness of people's information out. And so I started a little business around helping other people. And I started to do that with just about every single person in the macroeconomic space. the exact same people that I was reaching out to a year prior. And I I had that because I had the connections with George. We would go to conferences, I'd meet them, I'd tell them, here's what I think you can improve, here's all the things. And for me, I was just trying to provide them value because I just wanted to talk to them, because these were people that I really looked up to at one point. And I had already reached out to all these people and I was already asking to work with them. And so at that point, I started a little business. I was making a bit of money, but in reality, I was making about $20,000 a month in revenue, but I was almost net negative every single month because I was paying these people for the most part to work for them because I just wanted to start to understand this stuff better. I was thinking on a long-term time horizon, hey, what do I really need to do to get better to where I can make a lot of money 5 years from now? And I thought, I just need to get the reps in. I need to get better and better and better and better. And so I was willing to spend every single dollar that I was making in order to learn this skill. And it's not exactly my business model today, and I'll get to that. But all I was doing was helping these people because now I had the value I could provide them. I could help them get more eyeballs. And this was more so through a kind of short clip redistribution model, which I don't do any of that anymore. But that is how I could get my foot in the door with these people, how I could start working with them, and how I could start to become friends and build relationships, which is, I knew how valuable they really were. Fast forward, I then start to take over as a YouTube strategy business model. And I kind of shut that down because it was never going to make money. The only goal was it to start to learn and start to get better at this stuff and start to get more reps in. And so another year goes by, which there's a ton of stuff going on throughout these years. And so you say a year goes by of doing this. I mean, that is an incomprehensible amount of time to most people, but that's really how long it takes to start to get good at stuff. It just takes a lot of time. And I was just getting a ton of education. I was learning a bunch about business. I was learning a bunch about everything because I just found a way to get in a room with these people. And that's going to be the overarching theme of how I got every single thing. It's you find a way to provide extreme amounts of value. It's not even a little bit. I was providing a ton of value. One of these people I was making about $100,000 per month for, and I didn't even take any money. And now I I get paid for my work, but all I thought about is just provide, 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 and ask nothing. And now I'm best friends with all these people. And so that is going to be the overarching theme that you will start to understand as I keep going on here. And once I started the new business model, which was I was going to take a cut of the or a percentage of the revenue that I could make people, I started working with a few more people in the space, really started to nail down kind of who my target audience was. And it's no longer people in the macroeconomic space. It is large businesses. Eventually, I started working with this guy, Ken McElroy, in January. I still have a few other clients doing other stuff where I get a revenue share of kind of everything that they're doing with what I help them do. But the one person that I'm really allowed to talk about because he says I can say anything on social media or when I'm making these videos is Ken McElroy. And he's the guy that really upgraded my lifestyle to where with him, I only really, he has a private jet. So I always fly private with him. In Arizona, he gave me a 1957 Porsche, which is the coolest car in the entire world. So how did I get the job with Ken? I said, hey, dude, I think everything you're doing sucks. Here's why. Here's what I think you can do better. Here's the improvements that I would make. Here's why I think I'm the person for the job. I said, I'm not going to charge you. Or I said, why don't I just take a basically nothing? I mean, I just said, I'll take 20% of the ad revenue above what you're currently doing, which no matter what is not going to be any money. I know where you make the money. It's on the back end, but I didn't care about that. Ken runs a multi-billion dollar business. I just thought that it'd be a huge opportunity for me to get in the room with him and to learn what he was doing. And that decision was one of the best decisions of my entire life. So I get to Arizona. He says, hey, dude, I got a place for you to stay, it was an apartment that was owned by Robert Kiyosaki that his company manages. That's right in the downtown Scottsdale area, right in Old Town. And they said, oh yeah, I got a car for you as well. And so I go into the office and he throws me a key, and it's this little like stupid key that I've never seen before because it looks like it's just like a house door key. I'm thinking, what the hell am I supposed to do with this? Because car keys have a distinct look to it. And I'm thinking, what the fuck kind of car is this? And so I walk out and it's this the coolest thing in the entire world, 1957 Porsche that was Robert Kiyosaki's car. And he said, figure out how to, he said, do you know how to drive stick? And I said, no. I said, well, figure it out. And so my first time ever driving stick is on this car and I'm screeching it just every single stop sign, just and eventually I got the hang of it. It turned out to be the coolest thing ever. So when I said, do these materialistic things make you happy? In a way, yes. There is no better feeling in the entire world, I think, than driving that freaking car down the Scottsdale Road. And every single, like, this is definitely an ego thing. It feels good when you don't deserve the amount of attention that you're getting, but you get extreme amounts of attention. When you are driving down the road with the top down because it's a convertible, and every single person, because it's such a unique car, every old person has to say something to you. This made me tons of connections because it's such an old vintage expensive car. I go to a high-end gym, and old people would always come up to me. All of them were highly, highly, highly successful. And that got me in a ton of rooms, made me a ton of connections. So in a way, buying those expensive cars are an incredible investment for the amount of connections that you make. I got all of this for free. I started flying private with Ken because he just had an extra seat on the plane. And I'm in Colombia for the summer because it's too hot in Arizona. Staying in this 12,000 square foot house. I mean, this house is egregiously large. It's hard to even put your head around. It is the coolest thing ever, 100% for free. Do these things make you happy? In a way, they absolutely do. But is that what I derive happiness from? These materialistic things? Not even in the slightest bit. That what actually makes me happy is me and PJ kicking ass, working, growing the business every single day. That is so freaking fun to me that that's what keeps you satisfied. And that's what gives you an overall purpose. If I had all these things, let's say if I won the lottery and I got the reward and it was unearned and I never thought that I would have earned it, I don't think I would feel any joy. I'd probably just feel like a complete imposter. But I know in 5 to 10 years, I will be able to afford all of this stuff because of the connections that I have. When you really are kicking ass and you're doing this for very, very, very successful people, they tell all of their friends. And now the amount of opportunities that I have are quite literally tough to wrap my head around. It is truly the most insane thing in the entire world. And all it took, well, and when I say all it took, it was it was over 365 days, every single day, reaching out to people, trying to cold email. None of that worked. Whenever someone asks me, what do you think of cold outreach? I either sucked at it or I was doing everything wrong, but it really doesn't work. You need to just get good at something. And once I got good at something, I got good at helping these people grow their audience and then help them monetize it from the back end. Every single person wants to talk to you. And now that's the position you're in, or I'm in. Every single one of these people that I was reaching out to want to talk to me. And now I'm actually speaking with a lot of these people that I used to reach out to every single day. It, really comes full circle, but the only reason why they care to be around me is because I provide exceptional amounts of value for them. So what is the happiest part, or what is the most fulfilling? The best part about money is just the freedom. And I'm not making a ridiculous amount more than I sure as hell thought that I would be, but the lifestyle I live is if I was making unlimited amounts of money. Uh, there's nothing else I would really do. We go out to eat at the most expensive restaurants whenever we want to. We eat the best foods. We do everything that we want. And there's no real cost to it. I mean, all that stuff I pay for and all the travel is, unless I'm flying with Ken or another one of my clients now is a plane as well. The goal of money is to have ultimate freedom to do what you want when you want to in any case scenario. I used to be incredibly cheap. When I first started hanging out with George, he would always cover the bill for every single person. Always. And for me, I thought, dude, you're gonna run out of money. What the hell's wrong with you? And then George just said to me, why do you want to make money in the first place? And then everything just dawned on me. It was like, to do exactly what you're doing. How good would it feel to be able to support the people around you and do these remarkable, remarkable things at all times, at whenever you want to? That's exactly the goal of having money. But at the same time, George is the most disciplined person that I know. Monday through Friday, he is the exact same schedule. Friday nights and Saturdays and Sundays, he'll mess around and do other things and have fun and do all these cool things. Same thing with Ken. Ken is incredibly disciplined, but he still has incredible amounts of fun. And then it comes down to I have achieved the exact, actual better dream life than I could have even imagined 3 or 4 years ago. But now, what happens I understand that I'm living my dream life. And every single day I'm staring at the ceiling, thanking God at nighttime for the situation that I'm in, that I'm the most fortunate person. But my dream outcome has just adjusted. Now, everything that I want is so much bigger. I'm thinking in so much larger frames because I want to have all the things that Ken has. Not from a materialistic standpoint, from a freedom standpoint, from the amount of people that he can help. He has an entire part of his company that is his philanthropy department that is just giving away his money. How much impact does someone like that have when he's giving away millions of dollars per year to the things that actually move the needle in this world? The only way you can do that is if you have the resources. And with the resources, you have the ability to do anything that you want, which is what I love. I want to grow a large company. When you have a large company, there's a ton of people that are reliant upon you that are needing you to perform so they get their paycheck, which supports them and their family and hopefully betters their life and hopefully better society. I mean, businesses as a whole, that is what drives society forward, innovation and doing all these things. That was always my goal after I read the book Atlas Shrugged, which is the book that George's logo is based off of. So it's a multi-purpose tattoo. In case that one didn't work out, I would have said it was a Atlas Shrugged tattoo, which it technically is. So I had a backup plan. Going back to does all this stuff make you happy? The answer is yes, but there are massive, massive, massive caveats to it. I am actually most happy just working my ass off every single day and getting better at what I'm doing because I've removed income as the metric that I'm tracking to see if I'm getting better. And all that I'm tracking is, am I getting better at my work? And as I continue to get better, my income is exponentially increasing with it. But income is a result of me focusing on what matters most and is just trying to become the best in the world at what I'm helping these people do. And as I'm just focusing on that, the income is skyrocketing. Whereas what I used to do is I used to think I want to make $20,000 a month. I want to make $30,000 a month. I want to make $50,000 a month. Now I'm thinking I just want to get 100 times better at this. Let me focus all my energy. Because of that, my income is really starting to go up, which is great. But you know what I'm doing with that money? I'm using it to allow me to get better at the work. And then there's this positive feedback loop of getting better and better and better at the same time income is steadily going up. And so the new dream is went from, let's say, making $10,000 per month. We got some freaking gringos in the back there to growing a $250 million per year company. And I know that sounds crazy, but I can virtually visualize every single step of the way where I need to pivot, what really has to get done. And the only reason why I think that is because that's just a little bit more than all my friends make, or a lot of my friends. A lot of my friends are making money like that kind of money, and so because I'm around them, I get to see what they're doing and why they're doing it, and what their day to day actually looks like, which is such intangible amounts of value. It has grown me as a person more than anything else in the world. And it just comes back to that same theme. These people want to hang out with me, one, because they see that I'm actually doing really cool stuff, but also because I can help them. And even if I'm not helping them, I'm helping all their friends. And just once you are in those circles, it is very, very easy to make extreme amounts of incomes. But getting in them is wildly, wildly, wildly hard. But for me, that was the riskiest part of what I was doing and the hardest and the most gut wrenching when I knew every single email that I was sending out, I was never going to get a response to, but I would still send it. uh, and then when I did get one, and my entire week would be made just to find out that there's no way that I would ever be able to work with them. And that's not like a week. That was months and months and months and months of also just working 14 hours a day. It is a long process getting to that first step or to the kind of stage one. That's really stage one of trying to figure this stuff out. And then once I got to stage two, everything gets so much easier. It really, really starts to smooth out. It's my life today is so much more stressful and there is so much more pressure, but it is a lot easier because you've already climbed the hardest mountain, which is really the first one. I would also say you get numb to nice things incredibly quickly. I don't really care about nice things or staying in nice places or doing all these super, super nice things. I just care more about the freedom. What I prefer is saying, I want to have a great steak for dinner and being able to go spend a ton of money on an incredible steak. because I want to be healthy. I want to do all these things. And then having a physical therapist come to the house a few times per week and having someone that will stretch you out to where you can become the healthiest human. But the reason why I can do that and have someone have your diet dialed in because they're making food for you every single day and weighing it out and knowing exactly what you're doing, the reason why you can do that is from funds and having money. In Colombia, I wouldn't be able to do that in the US, but in Colombia, it is dirt cheap. Wrapping this all up together, money alone would make me miserable. What makes me very grateful and happy is the connections. That's really everything. Having my friends be the coolest people in the world and doing these incredible things, but the adventures I have are only fun because of the people that I'm with. If I was doing it alone, I would hate it and none of it would really be fun. The example I would use is the first time I was living in Arizona was when I moved out to live with or to meet George. I was living there for 6, 7 months and I didn't have a single friend. All I would do is go to work. That for me was one of the hardest times because all I was doing was working. I was staying in a little roach motel. It was really bad and I had no connections, no friends, nothing. It was incredibly, incredibly lonely. Now in Arizona, it is the best place on earth. And I'm staying about 5 minutes from where I was before. So, how can something that was one of the most miserable times in my life go from the best time? Arizona, for me now, Scottsdale is the best place to be for all entrepreneurs that are running cool businesses because I've made the connections. Ken is basically the mayor of Arizona. And so I get to hang out with all of his friends, which run the biggest businesses in Arizona. And then all my friends who are younger and kind of my age, well, no one that I hang out with is my age, except for PJ. They're maybe late 20s, early 30s. They are all running really cool businesses because I've made the connections, because I've started to know where to go to meet these kinds of people. And they want to hang out with you because you're doing cool things. I like to hang out with people who are continuously bettering their lives. That is what I enjoy. I want to better my life at all times, and physically, mentally, business, every single part of my life. I just continuously want to get better. And I like to hang out with those same types of people. And guess what? Those people like to hang out with people who are continuously getting better because iron sharpens iron. So, anyway, money doesn't make you happy, but all the things around it very much so do. And not having stressing about money, not thinking, fuck, can I go out to eat today or can I go on this trip? That is the best feeling in the world. Having all thoughts about money just completely vanquished from a stress level. I also have no responsibilities. If someone had kids, I might change the equation a little bit, but I don't. Therefore, I can't speak on that. Goodbye.